Welcome to the Football Analytics and Review Show. Check the link in our description to join our WhatsApp community.
It's been quite a long time since we had an episode, and there's a lot of stuff to talk. And as you all know, the entire football world has been shook by certain incidents that happened over the last week. Even we couldn't believe it's happening. Even though we sort of made jokes about it, people moving to here and there, but still, some of the moves that have been happening are absolutely insane. And Elijah, so first, okay, I think we'll move on to the topic. I think most of you are waiting to listen to the whole Messi situation and the FFP rules in La Liga.
Yeah, so I think 2 days back, it was around 12 in the night here. No, it was like 10:30, 10:40 in the night here. FC Barcelona posted on all of their social media platforms that it is official that Leo Messi is not going to continue at Barcelona from now onwards. And they have said in their official statement that Messi and the club have reached an agreement, but due to the regulations and rules of La Liga, they are not able to sign him, they are not able to register him as a player. And he was supposed to sign a 5-year contract, and like his pay would be deferred. So the amount of money he is supposed to get for the 5 years, it will be distributed over the 5 years, and the first 2 years he'll get very, very less, and the rest 3 years of the remaining 5 years they were supposed to compensate him for the less pay that he's getting now, or something of that sort. So that is the gist of the statement they have posted. So the day that this statement had come out, Messi's father, who is also his agent, had flied down to Barcelona. I don't know if flight down is the right grammar, but yeah, he flew down. Yeah, that's the right word. So he flew down to Barcelona, and they had a talk and all of that. And one of the President Laporta's main campaign points when he was running for the presidential elections was that if I get elected, I will do everything in my power to make sure that Messi will stay. So after the statement was released, the next day morning there was a press conference in which many people asked him. So one of the running theories immediately after that post was posted on all the social media platforms, and the club official statement was that this is a tactic by FC Barcelona to put pressure on the La Liga governing body or whatever that is, so that they make the rules a little bit more flexible, at least for this season, just because one of their bigger players will leave the league and league revenue will fall and stuff like that. So that was the prevailing theory among most of the fans and maybe most of the journalists also, because it looked like that on that day. But the next day when President Laporta spoke, he said very clearly that we have tried all we can, and after that conversation with both the Messis, that we cannot sign you, unfortunately, even though both of us are willing. They did not have any talk after that. So all official contact between the club and the Messi family had stopped from that point onwards. And he said that I don't want to give any of you false hope by making you think that maybe the La Liga can do this, the La Liga can do that, and because of that Messi can come back, because it is a dream and I don't want to give you false hope. So that was his official statement. And moving on to the question of why they could not sign him. So I tried to explain it in the last episode, and I don't know how many of you have heard it. And in case you haven't, this time I'm a little bit more well prepared to explain how the La Liga financial fair play system works. So in 2013, La Liga set up an economic control department. So it was specifically for calculating the finances in and out of every club, just to make sure that the club doesn't have an unsustainable business model. For example, if some rich owner takes over a club and he pumps millions of dollars into the club and he suddenly leaves, they don't want the club, because at that point when they're pumping in money, they can offer super lucrative contracts, they can buy players, they can sanction renovations and all of that. And suddenly if they withdraw their support, whoever the new owner is, or if it goes into administration, that club cannot survive without it. So that such a situation will not arise, this department was set up. So according to them, and it's a very strict limit, so it's not flexible at all. They have a certain limit set for each club based on how they get in money and how they spend money, and if there's any discrepancy in that, they can't like spend or sign new players and stuff like that. So the whole concept is the squad cost limit is the total amount that. Okay, yeah, tell me. One. Yeah, so the thing is, the squad cost limit is the total amount that clubs can spend on their first team players, the first team coach, the assistant coach, the head physio, as well as the reserve teams, academy, and non-registered squad players. So each team can register up to, I think, 30 people per season, I guess. So what happens is, out of that they play only a certain number of players, around 25, I guess. So the non-registered squad players can be in excess. You can have, like, Man City has like millions of players, I don't know, in their squad, but they only register a certain number of players, and those are the players that are eligible to play in that certain league. So for example, if for like when Ozil was a part of Arsenal, they had not registered him to play in the PL, I think for 6 months or something before he left. So even though he was in the squad and he was earning money, he was not registered to play in the Premier League, because of which he was not able to play. So all of these people included: first team players, first team coach, assistant coach, head physio, reserve team players, academy players, and non-registered squad players. All of these. So the amount you spend for signing them, the amount you pay as salaries, the amount you pay as bonuses, the amount you pay for the medical care, the amount you pay all the staff, that is like the head physio, the coach, assistant coach, and like all these important players, all of that counts to how much you're allowed to spend. So the clubs can choose how the money is split between transfers and wages. So they'll have a overall limit. Let's say they have 100 million. Out of that they can choose, okay, so much money will go for transfers, so much money will go for wages, and they are not allowed to exceed the cap that they set for themselves. Suppose they say, I'm going to spend around 30 million on wages and the rest 70 million on transfers. This is an example. I'm not saying people only have 100 million. I'm just saying, for an example, that let's say 100 million is there, 30 million they say that I'm spending for wages, and 70 million for transfers. They're not allowed to exceed it. So based on that, what happens is, for accounting purposes, what they do is, over a period of time, suppose like for Coutinho or Dembele, they spend in excess of 150 million or whatever. So what they do is, they don't pay all the money upfront. They pay them around 50-60 million from the club they are buying them, and the rest over the contract duration of that player's contract, they'll keep paying it in installments. So that's how the transfer thing works, and that's how they keep managing to balance the books. The problem is, people like Dembele, Coutinho, Griezmann and all were bought for such inflated amounts that even though these payments keep getting deferred over the years, I think till now they have to keep paying for Coutinho, they have to keep paying for Griezmann and stuff like that, and which is why their transfer budget was very less, and this whole problem has come up. So La Liga has this, like I had said in the last episode, they have a proprietary software called La Liga Manager. So if you have to register players, you have to do it through that software. So as soon as you type in a player's name, how much money you're spending on him, how much you're planning to give him wages, how much transfer the transfer price was, and how many years the player's contract is. So it calculates that, and based on the details you enter in that, this what board did I say? The Economic Control Department will automatically check it, and if it does not tally with the figures that you have given them, they will not allow you to register the player. So this is the problem that is happening right now in La Liga. So how does this differ from the financial fair play? More or less, this is how the financial fair play works, that you have to set a certain cap and you're not supposed to exceed it and stuff like that. So the concept is, the amount you earn should tally with the amount you spend. You can't overspend. If you overspend, it should be within a certain limit. I think 15% is the limit that UEFA says for the FFP thing. So if you get 100 million, you're allowed to spend 115 million, and the 15 million can be through loans or whatever else. And all of these are just rough example figures. These don't mean anything. So how does FFP differ from this La Liga system is, FFP is checked after the season finishes. So let's say right now I am spending 150 million instead of the 100 million that I'm supposed to spend. So what happens is, after the season finishes, UEFA will sit and check your this thing, and they'll say, you have gone let's say 30-40 million overboard over the amount that you were allowed to spend. So for this you have to go to trial for their UEFA court or whatever, and they'll get penalized, etc., etc. The thing with La Liga is because they are so strict, this happens before the season. So even before the season starts, you're supposed to show your books. You're supposed to show your books and say you're allowed to do this, you're allowed to do this, you're allowed to send so much money, and if it does not tally at that said amount, you cannot continue with signing new players. So you have to play with whoever is there in your squad already, because whoever is there in your squad already is already accounted for in your books. And if you have to add someone, there has to be space in your budget to pay for their transfer wages, to pay their club that you're buying from, to pay their agents, to pay their wages and all of that. If so, because of that, new players like Depay, Aguero, Garcia and all of them also right now are not registered. And sadly, this also includes Lionel Messi. So the issue with Lionel Messi is his contract ran out on June 30th, I guess, or whatever the last day of June was. So from July 1st, he was a free agent. So last year when he wanted to leave Barcelona was the last year of his contract. If Barcelona had managed to sell him last year, let's assume some big club like City or PSG would have paid even 80, 90, even let's say inflated fees, even 100 million they would have paid and bought a 33-year-old Messi. I think that would have been good for Barcelona, because at least now they would not be in the position they are in right now. And the second thing is why that did not happen last year was that no club president wants to be the president that lost the best player in their club history, because of which Bartomeu did not allow it last time, because like Messi is their main player and Bartomeu had already messed up quite badly. He didn't want that also to be added to his list of greatest achievements, that he lost the club's greatest player. So he did not allow that to happen. So Messi was very cautious with what was going to happen, and he wanted to see what happens in the presidential elections. Once he saw that the new president and the new board are quite, what should I say, he can get along with them, he can work with them, he can talk to them, and they will actually live up to their promises, he decided, yeah, I can sign a new contract with them. Sadly, what happened is, once the contract lapsed, he became a free agent. So he was no longer on the books of Barcelona. Because of which they could not. So as of now, if you want to re-sign Messi, it's like signing a new player again. It's like signing Depay or Eric Garcia or Kun Aguero, because all of them were free agents. So as of now, even Messi is a free agent, and if you have to sign him, he'll basically be treated like those, even though he's from the same club. So because the contract was allowed to lapse, now even if they're planning to pay his wages, he earns around 30 million. So even if he's taking a pay cut and he's signing for around 25 million, they were offering him a 5-year contract. So 25 million over 5 years is 125 million. And as of now, Barcelona don't have the finances to show that over the next 5 years they can cover 125 million wage for one player alone. And you also have to consider that right now even people like Sergio Roberto and all have salaries like 12 million, 13 million. This fellow Umtiti has a 12 million wage, Longley has 11 million wage. So with everybody having such humongous wages, you can't promise a player that you're going to pay him 125 million over a span of 5 years. And because of this issue, Messi is not signing. I know it was quite long and in lot of detail, but there's everything that went on. And if anybody is having any kinds of hopes that no, there will be some U-turn and all and Messi will come back, I don't think that is happening, because the club have already made official statements. They posted on all the social media platforms. All the players have gone and met him and they are like, okay, yeah, this guy is leaving, goodbye. And Messi's agent, which is basically his father, is already in talks with other clubs. So if Barcelona actually managed to pull off some weird ass magic trick and they do manage to make a U-turn, this will mean a complete butchering of their image, and what should I say, they will lose all their credibility in everybody's eyes in the whole world of football for I don't know how long. And that is something a club who is in active business cannot afford. So I like Messi a lot. I love him, I adore him. Because of him, not technically only because of him, there were many players who contributed to why I like football, but he was one of the bigger reasons why I liked football, and he is one of the main reasons I still support Barcelona. But at the end of the day, I have to say this, the club is always bigger than any person. Doesn't matter if he is the one of the greatest players ever to have kicked a football. Doesn't matter if he is the greatest scorer for your club. Doesn't matter if he gets most of your revenue. It's a player at the end. Eventually, in 1 or 2 years, he would have to move on, and this era would have come to an end. It's just that due to it's not actually unforeseeable circumstances. It's because of these horrible things that he's having to live in an unceremonious manner, and there's hardly anything we can do about it. But this day was going to come eventually, and it has come now. So if there is anybody, I have seen a lot of hate comments for Laporta and all, because they are like, so there's one more thing I forgot to cover. So there's this TV deal that there's a certain organization that wanted to buy a stake in the whole league itself. So for that they were going to pay like 3 or 4 billion, and out of that the biggest earners, that is Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid and FC Barcelona, were going to receive a huge chunk of that money, and out of that only 15% was going to be used for like transfer and all of that, transfers and wages and stuff like that. So Barcelona would get roughly 40 million from that money. The problem is that 40 million, even if they got it this year, would not have been enough. This 40 million they're going to get over a period of the next 3 years, which is basically 10 million or like 12 million per season, which is absolutely nothing. Yeah, Jitu.
No, I have something to add on it, something which I read about it, Steve. So basically, I don't know the name of the company, some CHC or something like that. So this company, basically they approached La Liga to buy some 10% of stake from La Liga, and so, but they'll end up paying a lot to the individual clubs, especially the top 3 clubs. So what La Liga proposed was that you sign this contract with this sign this contract, and you'll get this much money, and you'll be able to somehow relieve your relieve your financial problems, and you can sign Messi also. That's what they offered. I don't know how much this is true, but they offered that they'll relax the rules so that you can sign Messi, you'll get the money to clear your debts and all. But there's a condition in that, because if they sign this contract, then they can never form a breakaway league, that is the European Super League right now. So they'll be forever entitled to play in La Liga, otherwise they'll break the contract. So they were in a situation right now. Okay, they can have Messi, they can get the money, but they have to stay in La Liga. So I don't know, maybe whether the European Super League would have been higher revenue generating league, maybe they stick to that, maybe. I don't know how much this is true. This is what I've heard. And that's the reason I think Real Madrid also haven't signed this contract with this company. As you all know, Real, Barca and Juventus are still in the European Super League. And there's a recent report which I think most of us never noticed, is that they actually won a court case against UEFA. So UEFA can't fine them. They can't ban them from any competition right now. So as of now, these 3 clubs can form the league and they can continue to play. So this is something which is going under the radar right now. People are not, I don't see much big news is coming about it. It's happened. It's already done. So this might tempt the English clubs also, because UEFA have fined them alone for this thing. None of these these 3 clubs who are still there, they have not been fined. The English clubs and the Italian clubs that left and Atletico Madrid all have been fined. So they can also refuse to give the fines right now, because if they are not fining these 3 clubs who are actually played a big part in all this, and they can't fine them also. But there is a problem with these English clubs, is that that also I think Premier League has some rights over them. So even if they want to form a breakaway league, there's some financial restrictions, but there is still loopholes in that also. So the thing we feared would happen might as well happen, because the clubs are desperate, especially Real and Barca are desperate for financial relaxation and to get some money. So even Juventus are also in sort of a bit of a financial mess right now. So for these clubs, this is the way, and for maybe the richer clubs, this is like to play in a huge superstar league and earn more money. Like you look at Premier League clubs owners, most of them except maybe the city owner and all, most of them would want to earn more money because they own the clubs to generate money. Many of them not because they love football or something like that. It's to generate money. For them, this is an opportunity to generate money. So this is something which is going under the radar. I'm not sure how accurate this is, like whether La Liga sort of blackmail Barcelona or something like that. I don't know how accurate it is. This is something which I read and I wanted to share this. So if you want to know further about it, please do go research on it. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, if you don't want to research, you can tell us. We'll make a short video about it. But it's most likely true because the business of football is quite evil and super dark. We just see what is happening on the field, but off the field there are some horrific things happening. For example, the Qatar World Cup is scheduled to go ahead next year, and if you actually know what goes on behind the scenes of this magnificent event, you will not even feel like watching football anymore. That's how horrible it is. But let's not go into that. We were talking about how Barcelona, Juventus and Real Madrid are still a part of the Super League. So in case you forgot about it completely, the Super League is still on. It is not disbanded, it is not scrapped. The Premier League clubs have pulled out, but there are 3 actually quite big clubs which are still a part of the conversation. And I think the other thing that Laporta was saying was over a period of and this is a 50-year deal that the company buying a stake in La Liga is doing. It's called some CEVC or something like that. So that company is going to buy a stake for 50 years and they're going to inject 3 point whatever billion into the league, out of which Real will get 300 million, Barca will get 300 million or something like that. Out of which only 15% they can use for their transfers and wages. So the issue right now is that they are still thinking that the ESL will go ahead, and if they get money from the ESL, they get to keep it all. But the problem with this CVC thing is, over the next 50 years, a certain percentage of the TV rights, the broadcasting rights money, will go to the company that invested in the La Liga. So Laporta says, I don't know how true this is, and I'm pretty sure it's a lot of exaggeration. He says over the next 50 years, Barcelona will lose $800 million if this deal goes ahead and they accept it. This is what he said in an open press conference. So, like I said, the business of football is something we don't understand, and most of the time they're not truthful with us, so we don't even know what is actually going on. And I think that's all. This is the whole thing about the Messi issue, and everything you need to know. We have covered literally every single aspect. There is nothing that you do not know right now. So everything all over the news, everywhere on the internet is what you're hearing right now. So yeah, we're done.
Yeah, that's all about it. And if you want to know further stuff, there's a lot of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of theories to what is happening. Even we don't know. This is what we thought will be legible and what is somewhat true. And
Rage on that beat, going crazy.